Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 443, Curbing the Crimson Tide. The episode begins with a view of a city somewhere, and then we view inside an alley, where three boys spotted something. Although it was cloaked and shadowed due to the shadow overcasting the alleyway, the boys were able to identify it as, according to them, an evil and mysterious creature known as the Red Lightning. The boy in the green shirt and the boy in the red shirt wanted to get the fuck out of there immediately because they were terrified of the Red Lightning, but the boy in the orange shirt, Hiroshi, on the other hand, wanted to challenge the Red Lightning, and the Red Lightning, always being eager for a battle, challenged Hiroshi to a battle too, stepping out of the shadows as it fully revealed itself in its red cloak. Although it also looked a bit different than your regular Scizor, which would explain why it was called Red Lightning instead. So, with that, the battle officially began with Hiroshi sending out his Poliwag, and Hiroshi started the battle by having his Poliwag use Water Pulse once the Red Lightning ran towards it. The Red Lightning was so fast, though, that it was able to dodge, which frustrated Hiroshi and terrified Hiroshi's friends. Red Lightning then retaliated with a Hyper Beam attack that knocked out Poliwag in one hit, as the Red Lightning stood over it proudly. Then, the Red Lightning crouched down to Poliwag and left his signature mark on it, a series of scribbles. Hiroshi rushed over to his Pokemon and picked it up, trying to comfort it, as the Red Lightning picked up on a gust of wind that blew through the air and utilized it to fly up to a rooftop, and once it reached the rooftop, it disappeared, leaving Hiroshi immensely frustrated at his defeated Pokemon. We then see Ash and Gang walking through the same city, known as Commerce City, examining the various window shops, cars, and buildings, street lamps, just all the typical street shit you would see, with Ash very hyped to get to the Battle Tower. Eventually, after passing by some townspeople, they also passed by both a Pokemon Center and a mall. May wanted to go shopping, so she did, while Brock, Ash, and Max chose to go to the Pokemon Center for a little break. Max, Ash, and Brock were a little shocked, and Max was a little mad that May wanted to split up from them just to go do some shopping, but it seems as though Brock had his own selfish reasons for wanting to go to the Pokemon Center, because as soon as he got to the Pokemon Center, he immediately found Nurse Joy and started to flirt with her as usual, confessing his love as he imagined himself as a fancy prince, trying to earn Nurse Joy's love, but Max quickly dragged Brock off by the ear, much to his despair. Just then, the three boys from earlier, including Hiroshi, arrive, with Hiroshi still holding his fainted Poliwag that had scribbles all upon it. Right as Brock and Max got back from their little ordeal, with Max pulling Brock away and all that, Hiroshi requested that Nurse Joy heal his Poliwag and clean up the scribbles on it. Ash and Brock were confused as fuck when Hiroshi then mentioned that Red Lightning attacked Poliwag. So Nurse Joy and Hiroshi and his friends explained, the Red Lightning was a mysterious Pokemon who wore a cape and a mask, who regularly challenged and defeats trainers and their Pokemon, and then, as punishment for their defeat, scribbles on the Pokemon who he deemed weak. Just then, to further prove that the Red Lightning was defeating fucking everybody, we see another random-ass kid battling the Red Lightning with his Gulpin, because the Red Lightning had decided to challenge Gulpin. The Red Lightning used one single Hyper Beam and took out Gulpin in one attack, then crouched down to it and scribbled on its face before leaving when it felt a gust of wind, just like the situation with Hiroshi. Although, much to the boy with Gulpin's shock, the Red Lightning actually talked, taunting the boy a little bit before leaving. Ash, upon hearing about all the trainers that were being defeated, got concerned and suggested that maybe someone should take action against this Red Lightning and its mischievous behavior, especially since it was scribbling on people's faces. Just then, the boy who just had his Gulpin attacked and knocked out came to Nurse Joy and begged her to heal and clean his Gulpin's face as well. And he also freaked out about how the Red Lightning was fucking talking, despite it appearing to be a Scizor. Meanwhile, Team Rocket had been listening in, since they were currently working at the Pokemon Center, disguised as janitors. Hearing about the Red Lightning, Team Rocket instantly became intrigued to catch it, although for different reasons. James and Jesse, of course, just wanted to give a rare talking Pokemon to Giovanni, while Meowth, on the other hand, wanted the Red Lightning to permanently join their team, since he thought it would be nice to have another talking Pokemon on the team. Jesse and James got mad at Meowth for this, but they were at least able to agree on one thing. Not only did they both want to capture the Red Lightning period, but they also agreed on the fact that the Red Lightning seemed to be a tough opponent, so they would have to come up with a really good plan to be able to capture it. We then cut to outside the Pokemon Center, where May had finished shopping, and she was just sitting in a little park area in the middle of the city. Specifically, she was sitting up against a tree. She didn't want to just sit. I mean, she saw that Max, Brock, and Ash were still busy in the Pokemon Center, so she wanted to kill some time by doing some sightseeing, but she had no fucking clue how to start sightseeing. She decided to send out her 4 Pokemon, Combuskin, Squirtle, Eevee, and Munchlax, in order to hopefully enjoy herself while she tried to think of something to do. As all of May's Pokemon crowded around her, she eventually came up with the idea to start reading a textbook about Pokeblocks that she had very carefully, so as to learn more about Pokeblocks, and in the process, she nonchalantly just pulled the Pokeblock out and gave one to Eevee. Munchlax immediately noticed this and started to complain due to it always being a hungry fucking bastard, and May, seeing Munchlax's unpleasant face, decided to give it one of her special Pokeblocks that she had made on her own, her purple-pink surprise ones, much to Munchlax's delight. Eventually, as May continued to read about Pokeblocks, she got super fucking excited when she found out that there was actually some stores that were selling some good Pokeblocks that she wanted to check out that she hadn't checked out prior, an entire street worth. May excitedly went to go rush off to this street of shopping that she missed, hoping that maybe there were some other items that she didn't find earlier as well. But since she recalled her Pokemon before she did this, so they wouldn't have to run after her, when she recalled her Pokemon, she realized that one of them was missing, because she only recalled 3 Pokemon, and soon identified that Squirtle was missing. Even though May quickly ran off to go find Squirtle, she didn't have to go looking for long, because she immediately found Squirtle sniffing some flowers and admiring them with a Butterfree located behind a nearby bush. May didn't scold Squirtle for running off, she was just happy that it was okay. Suddenly, though, a brief gust of wind blew several leaves from the nearby trees into the sky, along with Butterfree. Butterfree was literally fucking blown away. What the fuck? And immediately after this, the Red Lightning arrived, perching itself atop a tree. May was understandably confused, not knowing who the fuck the Red Lightning even was. So, the Red Lightning talked once again, introducing itself and challenging May and her Squirtle to a battle. May was immensely shocked to hear the Red Lightning talking, but accepted the battle, wondering what Pokemon the Red Lightning would send out, assuming that this Scizor was actually not a Scizor, but a human, just in a Scizor disguise. But much to May's surprise, the Red Lightning reveals that it actually was a Scizor. May was so caught off guard that she didn't even want to battle anymore, but the Red Lightning gave May no choice, as it started off the battle against May's Squirtle with the Hyper Beam attack that it was most known for. Squirtle, however, was able to dodge the attack and then use a Water Gun on the Red Lightning, but the Red Lightning dodged the Water Gun by jumping down from the tree, so Squirtle simply tried a second Water Gun, but the Red Lightning dodged this attack as well, and proceeded to dive down towards Squirtle, making May frustrated, as she told herself that the Red Lightning seemed to be untouchable. Just then, as the Red Lightning got closer to Squirtle, its eyes started to glow, essentially locking Squirtle onto its eyes' radar. May wondered what the Red Lightning's game plan was, and tried to come up with a strategy, but it was too late, because since Squirtle was locked onto, it was very easy for Red Lightning to strike Squirtle with its signature Hyper Beam, knocking it out. Following this, the Red Lightning scribbles on Squirtle, as it did all the other defeated Pokemon that it won against, and this left May utterly astounded by how mysterious the Red Lightning was, both at the fact that it was a talking Pokemon, and also at the fact that it had just taken out Squirtle in one fucking hit. And also, she was shocked by how quick the Red Lightning left, as it made its usual aerial escape by feeling the wind and flying off. May wanted to go after the Red Lightning to get revenge, but it was already gone, so she just picked up her knocked out Squirtle and examined the scribbles on its face. Meanwhile, we then cut back to the Pokemon Center inside of it, where Ash, Brock, and Max still were. Although they were on the verge of leaving, so they could go do something about this Red Lightning figure. But on their way out, when they got to the lobby of the Pokemon Center, Ash saw that a whole bunch of other trainers had gathered there, and all their Pokemon needed treatment from Nurse Joy, and they needed to be cleaned as well, since all the Pokemon had the same markings that the Poliwag and Gulpin had, belonging to those other kids, indicating that the Red Lightning was responsible for even more scribbling, just as the kid had said before. All the Pokemon with scribbles included a scribble on Marill, Jumpluff, Heracross, Vampy, Mudkip, Shroomish, Azurill, Corphish, Snowrunt, and May's Squirtle, which the rest of the gang found out about when they came rushing into the building, or Pokemon Center rather, and explained the situation. So Ash and the gang were all shocked that even May and Squirtle had fallen victim to the Red Lightning, and they explained what it was to May. With Ash and the gang also realizing that not only were there scribbles, but there was also an X on all the Pokemon's heads too. May was really concerned about her still knocked out Squirtle, and wanted to get some treatment from Nurse Joy, but Ash was like, yo, the line's gonna be way too motherfucking long, May. But basically everyone else is waiting for that shit, so he suggested that instead, they just try and put a stop to the Red Lightning, and go search for it, and the rest of the gang agreed, so they went down to the Pokemon Center, and waltzed through the streets of the city, looking for the evil Red Lightning. After only a few minutes of searching, though, they eventually heard a girl screaming in the distance, so they rushed over to the source of the sound, and eventually found a very young girl and her Chansey, who Ash and the gang observed had the same markings as all the other Pokemon in the Pokemon Center, which led them to believe that the Red Lightning was responsible, and the girl confirmed this. As Ash and the gang examined her Chansey, Ash and the gang looked around for the Red Lightning, realizing that it must have been nearby if the Chansey was just defeated, and sure enough, they felt a large gust of wind, which Ash and the gang knew by this point was a sign that the Red Lightning was leaving, and they saw it just as it was about to make its escape. Standing on a gate of some kind, Ash immediately confronted the Red Lightning and demanded an explanation as to why it was scribbling all over all the Pokemon and beating them so ruthlessly, although the Red Lightning gave no explanation, as it simply fully revealed itself, emerging from the shadows as Ash and the gang approached it right by the gate, and the Red Lightning explained that it really just wanted to battle again, and specifically, it wanted to battle Ash and his Pikachu, admiring the gall that Ash had to talk back to it. Ash accepted the challenge and sent Pikachu, telling it to use a quick attack, although the Red Lightning jumps out of the way to dodge the attack. Pikachu tried a Thunderbolt instead, but Rock, May, and Max panicked, remarking that Red Lightning was untouchable since it dodged this too. Ash was certainly caught off guard by the Thunderbolt missing, which allowed the Red Lightning to fire off a Hyper Beam while Ash wasn't paying attention. Max snapped Ash back to reality though, telling him to have Pikachu dodge, so Ash did this, telling Pikachu to use Quick Attack, which Pikachu used to bounce off a nearby wall in the little alleyway by the gate, dodging the Hyper Beam. Pikachu then landed on the ground, as did the Red Lightning, since it was no longer standing on the gate, but before either Pokemon could launch another attack, a net was suddenly launched, heading directly for Red Lightning from the distance, although Red Lightning was able to dodge very easily by jumping out of the way. Ash and the gang wondered where the net came from, but they suddenly found out when Team Rocket revealed themselves, coming in from the distance in their Meowth balloon, right into the little alleyway, as Meowth taunted that Red Lightning couldn't get away forever, as Team Rocket did their motto, introducing themselves, with Wobbuffet and Mime Jr. also being part of the motto. Immediately after the motto, Meowth fired yet another net at Red Lightning, but Red Lightning dodged this one, too, and as Red Lightning angrily glared at Team Rocket. Meowth simply prepared to fire another net from his net launcher, but the Red Lightning then jumps onto the Meowth balloon and off of the balloon from building to building to building, escaping away. Ash and the gang called out for Red Lightning, but it was getting away, so they came up with an idea, knowing that if they fought Team Rocket, then Red Lightning would have enough time to get away. So they proposed to Team Rocket that they temporarily perform a truce, so that both Ash and the gang and Team Rocket could go after Red Lightning, so that, at least one of them could deal with it, whether Team Rocket catches it or Ash and the gang beat it. It's better if at least one of them deals with it, right? So Team Rocket agreed to form a truce, and Ash and the gang hop in Team Rocket's Meowth balloon as the Meowth balloon begins to follow after the jumping Red Lightning. Team Rocket were very much against forming a truce at first, but they soon realized that they had to if they wanted a chance at catching Red Lightning. Eventually, they started to catch up to Red Lightning, because Meowth made the balloon go super fast. And they saw that Red Lightning was gliding towards somewhere, although the balloon almost stopped following, because Jessie was so goddamn angry that Ash and the gang were in the balloon, to the point where James and Meowth had to restrain Jessie so that she didn't cause them to slow down anymore. Eventually, Jessie calmed down, and the balloon followed Red Lightning to a rooftop garden on a very tall building, basically a penthouse. On this penthouse was a girl who was waiting for Red Lightning as she held a small computer. Right after Red Lightning arrived on the penthouse, it was then that the girl took notice of the Meowth balloon and saw it as a threat, so she pressed a button on her computer just as Ash and the gang jumped out of the balloon and onto the penthouse roof. Team Rocket didn't jump out yet, though, as the computer button pressed caused a nearby tree to actually be revealed as a robotic one, which crashes into Team Rocket's balloon, destroying it and sending Team Rocket blasting off, but not Ash and the gang, because they had already escaped the balloon. Ash and the gang saw that the girl had destroyed the balloon, so they figured that she would be unhappy to see them, or unhappy to see anyone for that matter, so they quickly hid behind some nearby shrubs and eavesdropped as the girl talked to the Red Lightning. And they basically talk about all the trainers that the Red Lightning had beaten. Ash and the gang realized that it was the girl that was behind the Red Lightning's actions. She had ordered it to do all this defeating. So Ash and the gang came out from where they were hiding and confronted the girl as she got angry at them in response for the fact that they came to her house without permission. Ash apologizes, trying to calm the girl down, saying that he didn't really intend to break in, but he still literally demanded to know why the fuck the Red Lightning was beating up innocent Pokemon, beating the girl to smile, and saying that she was just having some harmless fun, and saying that it was no big deal, when suddenly a well-dressed man came from inside the house, being the girl's butler. And the butler immediately apologized to Ash and the gang, seeing how they were appalled by the girl's lack of any empathy towards any of the trainers that Red Lightning was attacking. And he addresses the girl as Luna. Max thanks the butler for his apology, admitting that the girl was being really rude. The butler apologized again, but Luna interrupted the butler and stated that she didn't want to hear what Ash and the gang, or her parents for that matter, thought about her just wanting to have some harmless fun. Ash, angry and fed up with Luna's attitude, challenged Luna to a battle, and Luna decided to accept with the hope of scaring Ash and the gang off so they wouldn't come back and mess with her again. So the battle begins between Pikachu and Luna's Red Lightning, with Red Lightning starting off with a Hyper Beam, but while Red Lightning and Pikachu were preparing to dodge each other's attacks by staring at each other before the match, Pikachu implemented this dodging ability, jumping high up into the air while using a quick attack, and then Pikachu followed up with Thunderbolt. Although before Red Lightning could be hit by the Thunderbolt, it used Swift, causing the Swift to collide with the Thunderbolt, creating an explosion. As a result of the explosion, Red Lightning's cape came off, which, much to Ash's shock, revealed it as a Scizor. Brock, May, and Max were shocked as well, but Brock also realized that the Scizor had a collar on it that was meant to transmit what the girl was telling him to say in the first place, because Luna was telling Scizor some stuff, and it seemed like Scizor was currently saying it. So basically, Luna was really behind all of Scizor's actions, just ordering it to do all of it. While the butler just stood in the background, Scizor used agility, trying to run after Pikachu, and Pikachu used quick attack to keep up with Scizor, heading straight for him, but then Scizor suddenly changes directions, and Pikachu still follows. But soon enough, Scizor goes to the edge of the rooftop and flies off of it, while Pikachu almost fell off the rooftop since he couldn't fly. But Pikachu stopped himself just in time. Luna laughed as she trolled Pikachu, almost making it go off the goddamn rooftop, while Scizor flew back up and straight towards Pikachu, as Luna taunted that her Scizor was super unique since it could fly, and Scizor's speed was basically unmatched. Although Ash revealed that he could match Scizor's speed by using his Sceptile, and he decided to substitute his Pikachu out for Sceptile, since there was no rules against that. Luna decided to test Sceptile's speed by flying off into the distance, so Sceptile crawls on the windows of the building to go after it, since Scizor was using the building's updrafts to crawl on. Basically, Sceptile was proving that it could go right behind it. And why was Scizor using the building's updrafts, you may ask? Well, maybe even though it could fly, it couldn't fly for long, so it needed some support. Regardless, when Scizor saw Sceptile behind it, it turned around and used Hyper Beam, but Sceptile used agility to jump and avoid the attack. However, a gust of wind then picked up, And this gust of wind threw the Hyper Beam attack into Sceptile, leading Brock to come to the conclusion that Luna was using the wind to her advantage in more than one way. She was actually using the wind to help Scizor fly. It was basically jumping up whenever the wind picked up, and that's how it flew. Scizor then made its way to Sceptile, as Sceptile started to fall as a result of the Hyper Beam. While May and Max watched intently, worried that Sceptile would fall, but Sceptile saved itself by managing to grip on to another really tall building. Although Scizor saw that Sceptile was essentially trapped hanging onto this building and used a Hyper Beam per Luna's command, but Sceptile, on Ash's command, decided to use the wind to its own advantage that had been picked up on, and used the gusty winds to float through the air, just like Scizor. So it was essentially two flying Pokemon fighting each other down. Although Squirtle eventually dodged the Hyper Beam and came down on Scizor with a powerful Leaf Blade, which was enough to knock Scizor unconscious, making it start to fall down. Luna started to panic, worrying for her Scizor, but suddenly Sceptile was able to fly down to Scizor and grab it, stopping it from falling, before returning itself and Scizor to the rooftop. You think Luna would be happy that Scizor was saved, but she was just surprised and angry for Puck, saying that Scizor could have handled itself. It didn't need Sceptile's help. Luna's butler calms Luna down, though, explaining that he knew that she felt lonely, but she shouldn't take out her loneliness on other people. And the butler then reveals that Luna's parents were often away doing scientific work because they were very innovative engineers, and since they were so busy doing work, they would often leave Luna alone. And so, since she would be so bored, she would occupy her time by trying to use her parents' inventing prowess that she had developed due to being their offspring to invent devices such as the ones that were utilized in Red Lightning, such as the chip that transmitted what Luna was saying. We then see a flashback of Luna's parents leaving and her being bored and resorting to making a device while her Scizor was still a Scyther, and by the time it evolved into Scizor, the device was finished. May went over to Luna, wanting to hopefully comfort her due to her constantly being alone, and told her that she competed in Pokemon contests and met a lot of people. But while she was gone, she really wanted to see her parents, Caroline and Norman. So basically she was trying to tell Luna that she felt the same way. She really missed her parents and wanted to see them. Max wanted to butt in and say that he and May's parents didn't leave them, they left them, but Brock stopped him, and May continued to comfort Luna, saying that since she knew what Luna was going through, she thought that maybe the two of them should get out their frustrations with not seeing their parents together by having a battle, and also proposed that Brock be the judge, and the battle be between Scizor and Squirtle, and Luna agreed, surprised that someone else was experiencing her problem. And the battle began after May and Squirtle and Scizor and Luna stared each other down, and Brock officially declared the battle began, with May sending out her Squirtle, and Luna started off the battle by having her Scizor use a Swift, but in order to dodge the attack, the Squirtle defended itself, going into its shell with withdraw. Once the Swift had stopped, Squirtle then came out of its shell and fired a water gun at Scizor, but Scizor quickly dodged, leaving a puddle behind on the rooftop. May got an idea, though, as she told Squirtle to use Ice Beam, although Scizor was able to dodge the attack. But the ground was frozen, and so when Scizor tried to walk away even further from Squirtle, it lost its balance on the ice, slipping. Max and May were actually scared that they would beat Luna, but now they were confident. Even Ash was confident as well, while Luna, on the other hand, had went from very confident to very nervous. Squirtle then used the icy battlefield to its advantage, as it used a rapid spin, going back into its shell, and used the ice to basically increase the speed of the rapid spin to rotate towards Scizor at a high speed. Scizor tried to dodge by jumping, but the high-speed rapid spin still hit and sent Scizor plummeting to the ground, falling back multiple feet, knocking Scizor out, defeating it, meaning that May had won the battle with her Squirtle. And Scizor was unable to battle, which Brock officially declared as Squirtle strike a victory pose. Leaving Max impressed by Squirtle's skills, Luna then talked to May, and basically she apologized for causing trouble in the city and swore never to cause trouble again, officially doing her best to now get rid of the Red Lightning myth and all the stigma that surrounded it, because Red Lightning would just never attack again. Basically, she realized, as she thanked May for the battle, that having a battle between two participants of equal strength, or close to equal strength, was better, instead of just wiping the floor with weak children and weak trainers who didn't know what they were doing. And yeah, basically, she was going to be having battles that were more fair from now on. Luna's butler was very delighted that Luna was now back to her normal, kind self, like she used to be, and the butler, having heard that May was a coordinator, informed her that a Pokemon contest was soon going to be held in a town that was right nearby the city, known as Gardenia Town. May was very thankful for that info, and got very excited at the prospect of participating in another contest.